Hello and welcome to Coffee and Catholics, a Catholic women's talk show podcast. I'm Stacy, one of your hosts, and with me I have...
Hi, I'm Alicia.
I'm Annie.
And I'm Lauren.
Hello and welcome to Coffee and Catholics. Our last episode, we listened to how Lauren met her spouse, and we are continuing that conversation with Annie's story today. So, Annie, how did you meet your husband?
Thanks. I feel like I've shared a lot of some of my story through when we had our little interviews. So, if you've listened to that, I'm sure this is going to be a repeat for some of that. But my husband and I met when we were in high school, working at local youth camp, Catholic youth camp. Actually, my first, I was working first summer. He just went. We've kind of gone back and forth on if we actually met that summer or later. We know for sure the following summer when he was working there, and we kind of were pushed together as friends because we were really good friends with another couple. But my husband was, when I first met him, and he was planning on going to seminary, and eventually did go to seminary, and I was not looking to marry a seminarian.
Sure.
It's not the goal. Not a chalice chipper. I'm going to repeat that over and over.
Can you explain what a chalice chipper is, though? Because that's very funny, and I had not heard that till tonight.
A chalice chipper is a girl who specifically seeks out a seminarian in order to, because they make pretty good husbands.
True story facts.
But they seek them out like groupies almost, waiting for them to quit. And that is not what I did.
This is not how to find a husband.
No. I mean, former seminarians can make really good husbands, depending on the former seminarian. I know some that wouldn't. But yes, so the intention was not to date this seminarian friend of mine. It was never anything that even crossed my mind. He was going to be a priest, so that was kind of off the table. We were just friends. And I had a couple other boyfriends, not at the same time, in high school. And then we went off to college. He went to seminary for a year. And each summer we came back to camp. And again, we were really good friends with this couple who eventually got married as well. They were, and so we ended up doing a lot of stuff with them. And so we got to know each other better through that. But again, he was my friend who was going to be a priest. So that it never even crossed my mind. He would say, well, it crossed my mind a little. But
she chipped the chalice.
No. Then, let's see. Summer before my sophomore year, we're the same age, so it was both of our sophomore years. I heard from this couple, these friends, that he was contemplating leaving seminary, and my first thought was, oh crud, I hope he didn't think that I was flirting with him, because that's not how I feel about him. He's just my friend. This is not because there was some flirtatious friendship things throughout that summer, especially with just a lot of the camp staff. That's what it is. But that was my first thought, was I hope I didn't lead him on, because I'm not interested. See, not a chalice chipper. I have told him that. I didn't tell him that right then or anything, but I have told him that. And
not while he was making that fecund decision did she tell him. Just later.
This was after we were married, probably. Yeah, so then we both went back to college. I started back in a relationship with a guy that I had dated before. That was not a good relationship. I should not have dated him again. It was really like we were both bored and needed a boyfriend, girlfriend, and it was just, okay. Yeah, he ended up cheating on me, kissing another girl while at World Youth Day. Did
you go to World Youth Day?
I did not. He did. that former boyfriend. And so when he came back, that we broke up, and I made a commitment with a friend of mine to not date anybody for a year. And that was September. And during that time, I started talking to my now husband a lot more on AOL Instant Messenger.
Oh, wow. Kicking it back.
You got mail.
we were up chatting. I had kept our messages for a long time too. Like they were really fun. I'd be up late trying to write a paper or something and talking with him. I had one where it was like I used to watch movies like have him on in the background when I would work on papers and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I remember specifically I had Finding Nemo on, and in the message chat he knew the movie so well that because his younger siblings watched it all the time. He's number 4 of 11, so he knew it so well that he would put quotes in, and it would be like almost exactly when it was happening, even though he wasn't watching it. So it was like,
that is a child that has seen a lot of Nemo.
Yeah. Yes. So we started chatting, I about the fact that he was thinking about leaving seminary, and so I'd asked him so what do you think you want to do? And we just really got into deep stuff, and he shared. He really was unsure about things and what he might want to do, what he was looking for, if he were to be, he was feeling really called, going to seminary. It was that he realized that, it was that he was really being called to fatherhood, mm-hmm. In a physical sense, not in the priestly way. Mm-hmm. And that's what he had discerned, being at seminary. His first year, and then the second year was kind of I'm still not sure. I might as well. I'm going to stay to keep discerning this. And I was saying about telling him things that I was looking for, because we both were at I was at a place that I didn't want just a boyfriend to be a boyfriend. I was looking for somebody to get married to, and so. I honestly, I wish I had the messages, had them saved, or how it was, so I could think me, what was I looking for at that point? I know definitely there were things like someone who wanted to lead their family, who had a spiritual relationship, with, who had, who went to church and who cared, like Lauren said, had a really good relationship with their family, with their parents, their siblings, if they had siblings. I don't even remember what all at that point there was, but I know I had a list. I was very I had gotten I was figuring out this is what I really wanted, and it took me realizing what I didn't want.
Yeah, that's usually
that was a big part.
Yeah. That's the story of all of our lives.
Yeah. And so it kind of we were almost falling in love with this ideal of what, because we were both saying what we would want and what we were realizing that they kind of fit in there, but it was also almost this ideal of what would fit as well. And so then I wrote notes while Lauren was talking, and then I'm this is
she doesn't listen when I talk anymore.
Yeah,
we've been friends too long.
Yeah, and this is where
off.
I had to quit because I ran out of stuff on what we were saying. I had a few words, so I was okay, now I gotta think about it. So So that was all the fall semester of sophomore year of college. And he came back from seminary for Thanksgiving, and we went to a friend's birthday party together. And oh my gosh, we were such dorks.
Work.
So, okay, true. Touche.
We're not the obvious.
All right, this one, I don't remember if I shared this in the interview thing or not. I probably did, but I can't remember. We went to this birthday party, and it was bowling. Did I share this? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was we went to a bowling alley, and first we went to dinner, and then the bowling alley.
It's like a date.
With a bunch of people that we were friends with from camp, although apparently I think the girl's mom called it that we were for her later on. But anyways, so we had to wait for a lane, and so this group of like college students decided to play Duck Duck Goose. And at the end of the game of Duck Duck Goose, we shook hands and said, "Good game." I'm shaking hands with Lauren. Good game. And then spent the entire evening of bowling shaking hands.
Oh, they've never let go again.
for the entire game. But we weren't. Yeah. But that we still hadn't admitted at all that we liked each other.
I believe that.
I think
that was a really popular song at that time too.
It was. That's right.
That was before
Yeah, that was when we were in high school.
That was when I was in middle school.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's a puppy, forget.
Yeah.
She's younger than us.
Like, this was 2005, y'all. Yeah. What was I going to say? Lost my train of thought because of Titanic.
I will never apologize for digressing into
Titanic.
any song.
We do not own the rights to that
yeah,
song.
we don't.
We do not
At all.
Yeah, so shook hands. And he went back to seminary, and we continued chatting. And then Christmas break, we pretty much talked on the phone like almost every day or saw each other. And then he finally told his parents that he had decided that he was not returning to seminary after that semester. Because in our brains, like both of us were like still in like, you do a year of school. It wasn't semester, it was a year. He should not have gone back. Because he ended up only going back for a month.
Because he knew already at this point. It was
yeah, because he had told his parents he wasn't going to return to seminary, and I think he had invited his parents, like he asked him to go to dinner with them, and his mom has told me since, I think it was like, she was like, so what do you think this is about? And his dad was like, well, he's in love, like duh. And yeah, I'm trying to think. And so then so that's kind of after he told his parents that, like, and he shared with me that he had told them that he wasn't not be going to seminary again after the end of that semester, like the rest, like after that, because all the stuff was still there and everything. Then we admitted to each other that we liked each other, and officially, actually, were boyfriend, girlfriend when he went back to seminary, and that is why he was only there for a month. Yeah, and so that's when we started dating, and then we dated for less than a year before we were engaged. I had a car accident, and it was kind of that realization that, like, he didn't want to not be the one to get that phone call. Like, that he would have, like, he had to hear, like, get the call from my mom, and, and that something was, that I was in the ER, and he proposed, like, a week or two after my car accident. But he stayed with me at my parents' house, like, taking care of me while I was unable to, like, crawl. Like, I had to crawl to the bathroom, so he would, like, help me get there. He wouldn't help me in the bathroom. But he would.
So right away, you're seeing what he would be like under pressure.
Right.
In a situation.
Yeah. And that was really, like, that kind of, like, we had already kind of, like, we had been talking about marriage for us. It was probably maybe 2 months in.
But, like, you did so much groundwork at that point.
And that's what, for us, it was, like, what I say to find is someone who you can be friends with.
Yes.
Like, whether it's, for us, it was, we were already friends. Right. We knew that we had that, Like he was my best friend, and he still is. And there's been times where like I didn't talk to him like a best friend, like, I didn't share with him like a best friend, and he didn't share, like, we drifted away like some friends do, but then you come back, and that we had that, like, when we come back to that friendship and see what we enjoy in each other and have fun together, like, that's when our relationship really thrives, is when we just have fun. And I know there's been so many stages, like, where, like, with the kid, like, with babies and little ones, like, date night is really difficult and non-existent. I don't know, there's been times where it's been, like, years, you know, where we didn't get out just to do anything, even at home, or we might watch a movie or something. But when we have, like, that has been crucial for us lately, is to make sure to prioritize just having fun together and enjoying each other. And like we went through right off the bat, infertility, my parents' divorce. The week after we got married, my mom and sister were sleeping on the floor of our living room because of issues at home with my dad. And so we, got kind of thrown into some hard stuff pretty immediately. He lost his job within, a year of us getting married. And we had to move, and a little over a year and a half. And I don't know. My brain's not doing math right now, even though I don't. My math.
Oh, I'm fact checking.
Yeah.
So, need to get it together.
And then being friends with him, and then for us, the importance of family. Now, I know there's, like, issues with family life and so many different people, like, and sometimes that there are toxic environments, things, but that family that I'm talking about, it could be the friend, like the extended, the friend, what do they call it? Friend, I don't know, like your family or whatever.
Yeah, friend,
yeah. Like, and
your friends are like family.
Right.
Family.
Yeah. Family. There we go. I was like, what is the term? Because for us, like, for when we ended up moving back to Oklahoma. We lived in Colorado for a while, moving back to Oklahoma specifically to take care of my dad when he was sick. And, like, just, we loved Colorado. We loved the mountains. And for him, like, to do that, like, for my dad, who had all kinds of issues, but he needed us. Like that, that importance for him, like that importance of family, and recognizing, like, not just his family, but my family. And, I find, for me, that's something that I really, kind of fell in love with him, was his devotion to his family, and really with mine from the get-go too. Like, one of the
devotion to your family too.
Yeah, well, from the beginning, like in that winter break before he shouldn't have gone back to seminary, she
keeps mentioning that.
Yeah. Well, it was just because it was a month. It was like it ended up. If you discern that you're not gonna stay in seminary, you need to not be in seminary.
Yeah.
But anyways, there was a fire really close to our house, and he spent like half a day helping us water the house and lawn and stuff, like, while the spot, like, to try and, like, prevent the fire from, like, packing the car and stuff. And so just, like, those little things, after having spent a day, like, we had been sorting through clothes that my parents had collected in their volunteer work for the homeless, like, and, like, this, like, just the service that he was offering. So that was the little things that I fell in love with. But like Lauren mentioned, something that, like, is this domestic church movement that has been a real huge part for our family. Like I said, we're friends. We have, but our communication has not always been the greatest, and
still not the greatest.
Yeah. But through domestic church, we've been able to have more deeper commitment to our path to heaven with our family. And we've had some unveiling of souls where we really just let go of any inhibitions about, or any fears about revealing,
being vulnerable
ourselves. Yeah. And a big thing for us is is praying together. For us, that has transformed our marriage. Is now we used to pray with alongside each other or for each other, but not out loud. And through domestic church, we've learned how to pray with each other together and share all those, be vulnerable with them, like Lauren said. And we weren't always able to be as vulnerable with each other as, we have at different times, but it has really improved our communication, our focus on our what it is in our family. Every day we kind of refocus to, this is what's important, and our goal is heaven, and that is what it is for our family. And it's not always perfect, definitely not.
Lest you think we're suggesting that domestic church is the easy fix for your marriage.
Yeah. That's just what Lauren and I have done.
Well, no, Annie and her husband have made much deeper connections to each other than my husband and I have as of yet. We have grown much closer to each other through these practices, but we still have a lot of work to do. So please hear my heart that this is not just an easy fix. There's definitely not that level of vulnerability between us that you describe and that I've actually observed with you two yet. But there is something else there that's very beautiful, and it's that friendship that you talk about. Just that sweetness, the inside jokes, the being able to laugh together. I feel like that is what has stuck us and held us together through all of the hard things. And remembering that he's just my buddy, And I'm a girl, so of course I'm we're just roommates sometimes, And it does feel like that, okay? It does feel like that sometimes. Mm-hmm. That, especially when there's kids around, that we're just kind of doing this together and we're roommates and there's not a lot of love and feeling. But then some little moment will happen and there's a smile that'll pass between us from across the room, and I'll realize this is actually what it is. The building of a life together, even if it's not feely all the time. There's just something here, and it's something so beautiful. And I think that something is God. In all his strange appearances that he shows up in inside jokes, in prayer. He just shows up. He's a wild goose. He's the patron of our podcast. And so, while we do have very different marriages, it's really cool, I think, to see that the number one thing that's coming up is that friendship. That friendship with each other is what is sticking and holding through the hard things. And maybe not so much the romancy stuff.
And as always, thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Join us again in 2 weeks.
Until then, may God bless you and may Mary accompany you.
Coffee and Catholics is a proud partner of the SmartCatholics Podcast Network. Find new shows to love, meet like-minded Catholics, and join the community at smartcatholics.com.